I've been seeing and watching what you've been doing from over here.
Me specifically, or you mean all of us in our village?
You are in my backyard, after all.
You have moved up to the north in your retirement.
No, I've owned this place for 6 months.
I have seen the beautiful gentleman club. But do you mean the spear itself you own in?
Have you not been in my property?
I have been inside your gentleman's club.
Oh, yes. Gentlemen's club, I always take that to mean like, we get a cheap blowjob, and, if she looks clean enough, a nice little fuck.
I meant in the classical, back in the day when you get cigars and you hang with the boys and you talk real politics. Discuss philosophy, stuff like that.
Yeah. No, I haven't been watching. I've been away for the last week. Taking some time away from San Andreas.
I thought you left completely last time we talked.
I can see how the timing might make it seem that way. I had some obligations, some international affairs, consulting, that sort of thing. As a funny enough, it's in relation to corporate entities taking hold of private militaries. So,
Senor, I'm intrigued.
It's quite the battlefield out there. Someone's always at war with somebody.
One must either always be hurting the foe or helping oneself.
I mostly just want to catch up. I was about to had to sleep. I figured I'd give you a call.
Well, I appreciate it. It is not often that I step outside our community borders.
Oh. Holy shit. Well.
What? You see something?
No, I just, I didn't realize you were so, y'all was so locked up in there. But it's understandable seeing where things are going.
Well, there's no need for me to leave. If I stub my toe, I just patch it up over there. If I get hungry, I eat over there. And well, there is really not much else beyond that. Have you heard of the hierarchy of needs, Maslow's needs or some shit like that?
No, what is that?
There is some freak philosopher who came up with a list of needs that every man needs. Things like the need to eat. And then there is the need for shelter. These are the basic ones. And then they become a little bit more abstract. The need for company, the need for money, stuff like that. So I guess whatever I need, I can find within our village. And I have checked out with San Andreas. Things are going phenomenal, amigo.
In Babylon or San Andreas?
In Babylon, I am almost completely unaware of what's happening in San Andreas. A part of me was hoping, not believing, but hoping that you would have potentially joined us.
I have been kind of battling a lot of things internally. We spoke on the matter last time we spoke and mentioned how it seems that all these entities and forces that we have that are directly in front of us, be it the faceless, be it you know, the Oracle, be it Nest, all this shit is just a distraction from a much more dangerous entity that is slowly consuming San Andreas while everyone sits back and watches it happen. And I did speak to you on this, right?
We spoke very briefly.
Hmm.
Well, brief in our own way.
Well,
I say
think
brief with you, for somebody else is like a yapathon.
Yeah. Well, I could say this. I've been gone for a week, and I came back to a fucking bigger shit show than I would have imagined. And quite frankly, it's got me at a bit of a crossroad of as to whether or not I attempt to fix, an attempt to correct course, or I just kind of let it burn. And to be honest, I haven't really made much of a decision.
What shit show, if you don't mind me asking?
There's some martial legislation that was posted up, giving control of the choice of the directors to the 4 legislative bodies, which inherently I don't particularly have a problem with. They've been without a head for 6 months now. But the means by which it was done, and given the number of signatories on there, they did not follow the very core process that is written into law. And I went in there and, you know, I posted an informal reply for...
Wait, let me pause you. When you say they didn't follow, you mean which party didn't follow?
All the parties. Both mayors, the justices that signed it, and the head of Sama.
Wait, so the mayors proposed the legislation, it was signed off on, it was agreed, and then after all of that, it was just ignored.
It was then contested, and if someone contests, they must bring their arguments to arbitration for the people to hear. So that...
Who is the party that contests? Just so I'm following.
The marshals.
I see.
They did not want to operate under the helm of the legislative bodies, which, fair enough, fine. Everyone has the right to their opinion. Hence the arbitration. So the people may be witness to the arguments on both sides. But, foolishly, arbitration was skipped over. And to some, this may seem like a minor detail. To me, it speaks volumes. Because what it indicates is you can write whatever you want in law, but people can choose to ignore it unless held accountable.
So
instead, it was brought directly to vote. And I think you know as much as I do, no one reads that shit. And the fact that,
not at all.
You know, somebody that worked under my office for as long as he did had the, quite frankly, I think Michael acted out of emotion, and I'm disappointed how much I think his vision has been clouded by whatever fucking, I don't know why he got so emotional on the fucking docket, if I'm going to be rather frank. So there's...
Even though you're Nino.
That's right. So it has me sit back. Do I allow it to happen? The vote failed, mind you. But it doesn't mean that something egregious didn't take place. And if it takes place once without correction, it'll happen again.
So they denied arbitration, is that correct?
It was decided that Michael had asked us to have it go directly to vote without arbitration, and Faulkner agreed to it.
Aye.
While it's very clearly written in law, it must occur. I put it in place specifically so, you know, we didn't have fucking forum arguments and fucking behind closed doors shit.
Is this an open case or it is now a closed case?
Well, the voting has concluded in the negatory. I hope that some of my statements in there made it go to negative. I said I agree with the legislation, but you got to do it right. Short-term benefit is not worth the long-term, you know, negative effects, right?
And you have the you can chime in even though you are no longer in office.
Absolutely, every citizen
can.
can.
That is incredible.
And that is the point of the arbitration, right? If you put something forward and you're not willing to stand in front of the public and explain the why, you don't have the fucking balls, the cojones, right? You need to be able to stand up in front of dozens of individuals that may disagree with you and be able to confront them and hear their side of things, no matter how much you may disagree.
So, I'm gonna try to walk through it just so I understand correctly. Correct me when I'm wrong. There is a directive that they want to put forward to allow the legislative bodies to have a certain influence on the marshals. The justices sign off on it, the doctors at SAMA sign off on it, and then the marshals object to it. Now, their objection should have begun a discourse through arbitration.
Correct.
But for whatever reason, something happens behind the scenes, and they say, you know what, fuck Arbit, let's just vote on it now.
Correct.
Ah, and who are the bodies that can actually vote?
Everybody. The vote was over the last 3 days.
And the vote happens at the city
Hall.
The same way you vote for. Really?
It is correct.
So the point is no longer argued on an open discourse.
It's just by a vote.
So it's just backdoor campaigning then.
Exactly.
What the fuck?
It's the very thing I fucking fought term 1 for, and that's the thing that was so shocking to me.
This is juicy.
It's like taking the mask from the old you know, like taking the mask that was taken off and discarded by the old DOJ and marshals, and watching these people go put it on. Now, I hold some I'm trying to hold some temperament back, as I still need to speak the parties directly. They'll be back tomorrow. But I'm at a crossroad where either A, I'm expecting some sort of understanding that this was gross and will not happen again in the future, or option 2, I take matters into my own hands out of what is a feeling of necessity, because if quote-unquote discretion can ignore the law at whim, then we can assume that law does not exist. Or the third is I let it burn. It's just unfortunate to watch individuals that I have empowered to burn it on their own accord.
Here is the conundrum that I look at for your position. What I would ask, if you were to intercede here, are you interceding on behalf of either one side, or you're interceding on behalf of the process of arbitration?
I'd be interceding on behalf of the people as a bar certified attorney to say no entity is above the law. And there's a couple legal avenues by which I can take. It could be a conversation, a statement by the DOJ. It could mean alteration of the law, which I don't want to do because the law is clear enough as is, and it doesn't need more pedantic, explanation as why you shouldn't be doing cringe shit, which is exactly what this was. Or maybe I phone the governor and ask him if he needs a lieutenant governor. to make sure these fucking kids stay in line. Or like I said, the alternative, just watch it burn and say not my problem.
What did you agree with the legislation put forth?
I agreed with it in the sense that the marshals need a director because they've been directorless for 6 months. And that arbitration would have highlighted their concerns directly so that the people could hear what those concerns may be. Concerns that may be valid, right? And may sway an individual's vote.
Which part do you think they act lawlessly? The fact that they skip arbitration?
Correct. Yeah.
Because, correct me, I think I'm starting to understand. The arbitration isn't there for either side, it's there for the public.
Correct. So that they can make an informed decision when voting.
And without arbitration, there is no way for the voters themselves to know which side to vote.
Precisely. It becomes a who can drum up the most bullshit about what the vote actually means. Because you just see a title, right? You can make up a lot of fiction among the fact. And you know the wild thing about it? There are like 8 signatories on that legislation. Any one of them could have shown. And if they did not have the time, the willpower, etc., to arbitrate, wait until you do. But don't fucking put it up at all.
Can you argue that if either side agrees that they don't want to go to arbitration, well, what I don't understand is what was the emotional, like what got Razzle emotional?
I'm unsure. I have to figure that out myself. I mean, it's on the City Hall. You can read it for yourself.
Would I be able to read that with my phone connection internet?
You can, yes.
Or would I have to go to City Hall?
You should be able to see it with your phone connection.
Is it in the closed verdicts?
Correct. Yeah, as the vote did not pass, the Marshall side won.
And what is the title of this?
I believe it's something, you'll see it. It'll probably be sitting at the top. You know, the law is the law.
Okay, I see. Appeal Adam. Okay, Ember Golden. The People versus Tucson.
Oh, no. City Hall.
How would I?
Go to the very... Yeah, go all the way to... there should be a link that says Forum. And then you'll see City Hall in there somewhere.
Ah, I see. Oh my goodness. Never knew about this.
So everything gets posted. The precedence this sets...
Format for introducing legislation, is this the one?
What is it called?
Oh, okay, never mind. I see it is the closed. Marshall's Director Appointment Oversight Amendment.
Yes. You'll see a lot of fancy statements, but most of it boils down to just horse shit and says, you know what? I didn't feel like this needed to be done. Fancy words can only get you so far until you can read between the lines.
I really wish these arbitrations would be held also in public.
They are in public.
What I mean is via speech.
That's exactly what they're supposed to be. That's why I put them in place.
So you put this
Arbitration.
structure for... you did
Right.
that. You're responsible for it.
That's right.
Ah, very interesting.
It all happened because in my first term, 6 pieces of our legislation were contested. They were contested under the guise of like increased taxes. Had that legislation not gone through, there would be 0 businesses for weeks. 0 solution for weeks. And we ensured, with the help of the governor, over the span of I want to say 6 months, we put a very clear, clean, transparent, accountable system in place for all future law. And I'm 2 weeks out of office and it's all being ignored.
Amicus curiae brief. I'm fighting a strong urge right now to devour this, and a part of me is saying you've left this behind.
I think
the dead bury the dead. You know, it's a passage from scripture. I believe it applies here.
I mean, this applies to you. Think you're not going to have the marshals knocking on your door? When you got time, take a look at it. We can discuss more tomorrow.
Tell me please how you believe this would concern myself. What do you mean by the marshal knocking in the door?
You think those nosy fucks aren't going to be wondering what's going on at Babylon? Start wondering, hey, what is ex-terrorist and treasonist doing, right? And it's not this particular legislation. It's a simple fact that the words on the paper that indicate how due process works and how one is determined to be guilty or not guilty. If those words don't matter, there is no law, right?
In my case, how could, let's say this turned out favorably, the way you intended it. If the marshals got nosy, how would anything be different regarding myself than it is now, or regarding what we're doing in Babylon?
Well, you're still living in the state, right?
See?
Um,
And abiding by all the laws of San Andreas.
Well, until someone decides to interpret it in their own way, based on their own political motives, right?
And in the event that they do, could they not have done that before? I suppose I'm asking what changes now? How does the landscape shift after this thing has been voted upon?
It's less about the vote on this, but rather the process by which it was accepted in the vote. Is an indicator that the law was ignored by the DOJ. And they interpreted it based on their desires rather than what was written on paper. Think of legislation like an oath. They swear to uphold it, but in one full swoop, it can decide to ignore lines that are inconvenience to them. I don't think you got to worry about it too much, though, Edgar.
I'm trying to heed the warning, but I'm trying to understand it. You know, I don't think I completely understand the ramifications of what took place today.
I think there's less of a warning there, Edgar, and more just me. Yeah, ask me how things are. I was just sort of explaining. Yeah.
Well, if something bad has happened and there has been an act of corruption at the highest level, well, everyone should take that as a warning, because that's just a domino falling and other things will follow.
There you go.
I didn't intend to mean that like you're pulling me aside, hey, say watch out, tomorrow they will come, but the ramification, I'm trying to kind of see where the dominoes fall and how it could affect our peace in Babylon.
I would say that if this domino, you are correct. It's a domino that very few will notice. But if they keep falling, everyone's at risk.
So a legislation is proposed and no arbitration is happened. They just decide to vote. And the law is shift.
So everyone votes blindly.
Does this mean that arbitration is out the window, or it means that they can just bypass it anytime?
Oh, it was bypassed. Even though legally it's mandated. Let me give you an example. If tomorrow, you know, there's a legislation passed that inconveniences Babylon, right? Maybe you convince Junior, hey, we need this. Or we need this removed. And someone contests and decides to say, you know what, but we're not going to show up for arbitration. Then you know who wins that vote?
We would win by default, no?
No. Whoever has the louder voice, who can make up the most amount of bullshit.
So in a sense, the law is now shifted where legislation can be put in just by a populist vote.
One that's deaf, dumb, and blind. But I won't worry too much about it, at least just yet. I've got some cards up my sleeve.
Well, I'm curious as to, like, here's the thing. The injured party here is the populace. But the populace don't even give a damn.
I think they do.
Then why would they vote? Oh, wait a minute.
They don't know.
Oh, hold on a second. Hold on. I think I'm starting to understand what you're saying. The populace was bypassed, and both parties, the marshal and the mayor office, decided to skip arbitration.
Correct.
Ah, so the people in between got fucked.
That's right.
They said they had a backdoor deal, and they said, listen, we're not going to bother arguing back and forth. Just move straight to a vote.
More or
I
less.
see. But the arbitration is there for the public.
It's there for the public. So you know what you're voting on. Think about it this way. You go to the
that's
ballot.
Really dastardly, amigo.
That's
so they just
exactly
they just
it.
made a backdoor deal to move to vote.
Correct.
Ay, amigo. Like if I was the evil villain, I would take advantage of that in ways.
Oh yeah, that's exactly my point. I want you to put it in perspective. Fuck the martial legislation today. Wait until something you care about goes up. Right? And you go and try to contest it, and you're like, no, that's not right. Right? Because
Oh my God,
you're
a plane.
Yeah, it's a plane.
Oh, sorry.
Your voice
sorry.
right there.
Oh. No, it's that guy back there. Hey, guys, it's a plane. Big fucking whoop.
But I don't want you to get too wrapped up in this. We'll see what tomorrow comes. I'm taking the approach of having a adult conversation with the parties and asking them how the fuck and why the fuck. And if I get a sense of like understanding and at least some sort of feeling that this sort of thing will not happen again, things will go one way. If there's too much digging in of feet, because, you know, parties decide to act, well, then I'll treat them like and go from there.
Would they have dared to do that when you were in office?
I don't think it's a dare thing. I think these are emotional responses, in my opinion. I think transparently, I think something must have happened between both of the parties. And instead of thinking logically and reasonably, I think this was a... You ever measure dicks with somebody? And before you know it, you got your dick stuck in a fucking, in a fucking trap. I think that's what this is. Rather than scheming or something malicious.
Whatever happened today, does that set precedent?
It can if nothing is done about it.
Meaning that in the future, if something similar happens and let's say there is a populist backlash, would they say, well, we're following the law, and would they cite this thing that happened?
Exactly. I mean, if something says legally you must do 1, 2, and 3, and then you decide not to do number 2, right? The judge just says, oh yeah, we don't have to do number 2 because I feel like it. Who's to say that's not going to happen with any other law that's in legislation?
The ramifications are so many, amigo. Pretty much. So there's another undercurrent, which is fuck the backdoor deal. They just bypass legislation.
Exactly. No,
so
that's not the undercurrent. That is the main issue.
I see.
It's not about this legislation.
All right, where
it's
do we
not
draw
about
the line? What other
conclusion.
legislations can
Then,
be fucking...
Exactly.
I see. And the culprit is and the marshal is complicit with that.
No, the marshals are not complicit. They're one of the victims.
The DOJ is complicit with that.
It's the people that are the victims. No, they're not complicit.
But I want to know who allowed this to happen, though. Like, if they bypass...
Judge Faulkner.
Okay, so the DOJ.
Correct. Though I'm giving some latitude to Faulkner, which I don't think... I think he made a boo-boo.
You know what? Fuck that. I used to be the guy, amigo, who say, I am sick of people fucking crying about the DOJ, this thing. No, I'm that guy now. Fuck that. No leeway, no mercy. The judge is the highest position with the most authority, have the most responsibility. They are protected in every way. They are taken care of in every facet. But like the position of judgment is one reserved for God. There is a saying, only God can judge me. And so the judge is God incarnate in human form. They are the only ones we are legally forced to refer to as your honor. So they have no fucking excuse whatsoever. They need to be wise, and they have proven to be very unwise, dim-witted, and dumb. Period. The fact that there was legislation which is a law that every citizen must follow. If I don't follow a law, I have to suffer the consequences. I pay a fine, I lose my freedom, and I lose privileges. Okay. Well, if there is a legislation in place where arbitration must happen, what gives them the right to skip it?
Exactly that.
Because they're in a position of power. Then the crime is double because they are more familiar with the law. They have been entrusted with so much authority, so the crime is double than what it would be for a regular person. And if that's the case, why did Marshall and the mayor and everyone who
and the fact that Michael defended this shit fucking does my head in. He watched this shit happen. He saw what the old DOJ did. He saw those fucking shadow edits. He fucking saw what happened when people were trying to give a fucking voice. And then this? That's not cooler heads.
So my question is, okay, they allow this one to skip legislation. What if tomorrow they just start skipping another legislation because it don't suit their fancy?
Now you're beginning to understand, right? This is not...
This is really
unfortunately,
bad,
for a lot of people, this is just like, oh, it's just maybe a little thing. No, it's not. It sets a fucking precedence. That you can read a very plain set of legislation in clear English and decide to interpret it like you're fucking half fucking brain dead, right? And that's not okay. Because at what point do you... How many words need to be written on a piece of paper to say don't jump in front of a vehicle, right? How much needs to be written down in order to explain not to just use some basic tenets of good faith. But like I said, it's, for me right now, a matter of letting it burn, or I'm going to give an opportunity for explanation. I always do. Because if this can be resolved amicably, it's better. But,
Okay, address this. Why are these wise people who are entrusted to safeguard and safekeep justice?
because there are no wise men left, Edgar. There are no wise men, and that's a reality that I have to consider. And the fact of that is the number of names that are on the ballot. You had the balls. At Benji, he was just bored. All right? You had the balls to get up on that, even though I don't, you know, you had a record, right? Who the fuck in this city has had the fucking balls to put the name on the ballot? People want to say, hey, things should be this way, things should be that way, this, that, and the third. But how many had the fucking balls to say, you know what, I'm going to try to do something? And the fact of the matter is, it's not just the mayors. The same is the case with the justices. The population is just not there. There's a hell of a lot of people pretending they can be chiefs, but no, there's a hell of a lot of Indians. Just waiting for someone to push them in one direction or the next.
I can't believe that I genuinely can't believe that they just bypassed the legislation. They said we're going to skip arbitration. Was it agreed upon that arbitration was an actual law prior to?
I'll bring it up right now. It's in very clear stepwise. I was in these conversations, right? I don't think it can be any clearer without like explicitly saying don't be retarded. Like literally, do we need to put that at the top of every piece of legislation? Like let me read you this. Where is it?
If I were to play devil advocate and say this brief back and forth, that is the arbitration, is that a fair response?
No, because the public is not aware of it. There was no arbitration. It's just Doc just simply said, I'm contesting it. The public doesn't even know the why unless you speak to him directly.
So this forum, this recording of this back and forth, this cannot be pointed to as the arbitration.
No. You're looking at the wrong one. That's a proper arbitration. You're looking at the Blaine County Fund one, I'm assuming. What recording are you talking about?
I'm looking at State
Like
Marshal
video?
Director appointment oversight.
Where's the back and forth? There is none. Scroll to Richard Dock. He simply contests it. His reason for contest is only known to those who ask him directly, because he was not given an opportunity. I mean, that's the thing. He wasn't even given an opportunity to explain why this legislation was an issue. He was effectively muzzled, and the people deafened. I think there was a lot of leaning on the failures of the marshals, which there are plenty. But once again, it's about principle, right? Where is this thing? Fucking... I don't know. It's in here somewhere. Something process. Is it, where is it? I think I scrolled over it like 10 times over. Legislative. Yeah, it's because the search for some reason doesn't Like, you know what I mean? This fucking search shit is like, I think it's finding like approval. Oh, here we go. You ready?
I am. I'm ready to listen.
Contest. If the contesting party chooses not to propose amendments or proposed amendments are declined by the drafting authority, a judge will schedule arbitration hearing between the parties and the relevant legislative authority. Blah, blah, blah. The arbitrator is responsible for meaningful progress. It literally lists it out in law. There is no defined skip. This is literally the law. You must do this implicitly.
Is that what you're reading? Is that accessible through my phone, or must I go to the state?
It's on your phone. This is signed in 7 months ago, December 20th. Signed by Weiss, Grayson, Hart, McNee, Faulkner, and myself. Oh, and then amended 4/26/25. It was myself, Pred, Nia Nashville, and 5 of the justices.
There is a famous line where a person of very high rank commits an injustice. And everybody is afraid to press the matter because of this guy's rank. Think of him as something like a judge. But one person protests against him and says, quote, "The deed was infamous, and its infamy is not modified by the rank, however high up, of the person responsible. Rather, it is aggravated." Meaning that the fact that a high position people are the ones who committed this offense is 10 times worse. In any case, I hope you come to a decision that will bring you some peace. Although the trouble might come to us Babylonians, I'm very relieved to find that all I really have to worry about is catching my fish, cooking my food, and looking after our chickens.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you, Edgar. You know, it's I think I only brought this up since it's relevant to what my future looks like, right? Is the demons that San Andreas has, and what I'm starting to very quickly realize might be insolvable without it all burning down to a fucking crisp, and deciding whether or not it's time to let it go.
Here is the fact. When I attended Elena's trial, I saw a circus. And what I mean by that is, I saw all of these people bent to your will.
Mine.
To your will, see. Which was an indictment, not against Elena, not against yourself, but to all the justices. Everybody gathered there. That is when I lost hope. And now that you are gone, they are subject to the whims of another, whether they realize it or not. And sometimes, or it seems to me, the whims that they are subject to now is their own stupidity and their own sense of self-importance.
That latter part is what I fear the most, because that's what some of those replies read at. You know, it's
Well, I have spent a little more time than is customary outside of Babylon, and I must return.
keep your eyes and ears open.
I will, and
And I don't mean about just the DOJ, but the other subject we spoke of.
I have not forgotten it, senor.
Because just as people can sell their soul, can act emotionally, which I do allege has taken place in this case. Who's to say they're not going to sell themselves to whoever is in control of all this puppeteering?
I think the worst part about it is your words are gonna come true and they're not even gonna realize they've been bought and sold. They had no idea who was running the show there. During Elena's court case, the justices thought it was themselves. Same thing happening now. They have no idea. They will be like the subject to another's will and be completely clueless to the fact.
I don't know if Elena is probably the best example to be using.
Amigo, it doesn't matter that courtroom, amigo, fiasco. The fact that, look, let's say she's guilty. Okay, whatever.
She told everyone in court she was guilty. And
I
Murphy let her do it.
I'm talking about the. It was like the part of, like the bomb stuff.
Oh yes.
There was so much there that was so bizarre to me. Look, I'll be frank with you. Like, I never really did any business like that with her, and she never did anything under my directive. When the fact of the matter is, she was a political opponent, and when they began to when they pulled the plug and removed her abilities, I didn't panic. I said, this is the opponent making a stroke. And it is preparing the way for Huntley and for Russell. What's really unfortunate is I don't think either of those people realized why they're in the position they are. That it come back to you. And it's even more bizarre and almost sad that the guy who is in his position because of you pretty much spit on your legislation and what you try to put in place. The irony being that the guy's fucking campaign was be heard. This is the ultimate irony. And yet I'm not even angry. I think it is just above there. Great. Honestly. The guy's campaign is be heard. You had a legislation put in place forcing arbitration to allow the people to hear. And they just bypassed it. It's almost comical, amigo.
I couldn't.
You gotta sit back and laugh, man. Like,
trust me. I spent hours trying to figure it out. I'm like, this, like,
you can't script this. You literally cannot script this. I don't think they realize how much you took care of them, amigo. How much you were fucking like pulling the strings.
You're not wrong. I think I spent like a good 2 hours today trying to make sense to the psyche. And the final conclusion was just ignorance, right? I protected them both, right? Junior worked on businesses. Michael wrote what I told him to. But now they're in the hot seat. And holy fuck, is it getting really hot for them.
Listen, you did everything you could at this point. You just let the cards. I will give you again. I don't have the wisdom, but there is a line in the great scriptures. Let the dead bury the dead. How much more are you going to intercede, amigo? And then when you disappear, then what?
That's what I got to figure out.
I thoroughly enjoy talking to you, Senor Chavez.
Is the way.
The topic of conversation is never something surface level and boring, for lack of better words.
Yeah, I think that's why I bring these topics up to you. I think you understand them better than most. Like I said, a lot of Indians, not a lot of chiefs.
I gotta use that one. That's a good one.